ain't one.
All right, so this is, I don't know where you do research where troubling things aren't found about this. I mean, already what is in the public is quite should send alarm bells to a thinking person, right? To a critically thinking person, not just thinking but critically thinking. A non-follower. This type of person could be Republican or Democrat or independent. Has nothing to do with your political affiliations, because critical thinkers can be found like all over the globe. You know what I'm saying? Just endless amounts of political participation or not, maybe, but in any case, what we have here, let me just check the audio. Okay, audio is fine. Camera. Okay. What we have here is disturbing news. Now, I'm going to bring up a few different things. Yeah, this just never ends. I don't understand where it's going to end, but let me just grab some stuff up. Every time I set this up, I have a couple of little glitches I want to throw out there. So, first of all, we got this dynamic going on here. And yes, this is MAGA Mike Johnson. And MAGA Mike Johnson, for those that don't know, is the leader of the GOP on the congressional level. Like, he pretty much is the beginning, the start of legal fights in the U.S. Now, keep in mind, the Supreme Court has a role in that also, but the U.S. Supreme Court has been also alleged to have judges with payoffs who've collected gifts in large numbers and violated the ethics rules also in general violation of ethics rules. And these are the people that are supposed to, speak for the law. I don't know how one speaks for the law and at the same time doesn't follow their own ethics uh you know outlines. I have no clue how that works. I don't think it works. I don't think you can have it both ways. And I definitely think a person that is dealing with law, criminal law, civil law, right, just law, should be at the very minimal following the very ethics rules that they sign up for. That I'm talking about the Supreme Court. So that's not what's happening right now. That's not the US Supreme Court. The US Supreme Court has judges that have violated the ethics rules, their own ethics rules. And those judges have been a part of passing kind of unprecedented rulings on American people. Yeah, basically defunct also. But let's get back to MAGA Mike, because MAGA Mike is here. Everybody knows his face. If you don't, this is MAGA Mike Johnson. He's a Christian. He claims to be a Christian himself. He claims to be. And for a lot of Republicans, he is someone greatly respected, obviously, because how do you get all the other reps that are Republicans to choose him as their leader in the Congress? How do you get that? So this is really speaking to who is in power right now, the voters that got their wish. This is another key figure. It's not only Trump, it's also MAGA Mike Johnson. And yeah, this guy is a Christian. He a self-proclaimed Christian. Now, I myself don't believe people when they just say there's something, anything. I look for people's actions, but this is not one of those places. A lot of the voters go for it. They don't go for actions or who you surround yourself with. No, they don't do that. They go with largely rhetoric. Like, they go on what these people say, not what they do, you know. And so, in light of that, we're going to go over to some more Epstein stuff regarding his locations, because I don't think the media has followed up a lot on the locations. But then again, this I'm talking about. Legacy media is lazy. Legacy media is getting the tax breaks. Media might also have people that have been to some of these locations, so other locations. So why would they advertise it? Why would they do a good journalistic job if some of, let's say, for an example, I'm not saying it's true, but as an example, what if CNN CEOs have been to Epstein's other residences that aren't popularly covered by legacy media? What about Fox folks? How many of them? I mean, if you're only talking about one of the islands or one of the locations or two of the locations or three, you're not really getting all of them, right? So we'll get to that in a second, but let's get to MAGA Mike Johnson here. Let's see.
Here are the direct sourced quotes featuring Mike Johnson that highlight his connections to Josh Duggar and Tony Perkins. Connection number 1, Josh Duggar. From Business Insider on November 18, 2023, Johnson called Duggar, now in prison for child pornography, a friend when the two campaigned for now US Senator Bill Cassidy. Site turn search. The photo taken at the 2014 rally shows Johnson alongside Duggar and fellow conservatives Rick Santorum and John Kennedy. Johnson even posted on Facebook calling Duggar a friend and referencing the Family Research Council's bus tour. Site Turner Hatch. Connection number 2, Tony Perkins, Family Research Council. From Semaphore on November 13, 2023. He's just a long-time friend and mentor, and has been like a brother to me over the years, Johnson told Semaphore, referring to Tony Perkins. Site Turn Search 2. In that same interview, Johnson said, Tony Perkins was a state legislator. I was in my final year of law school. That lecture had a profound impact on me. It also acted as the springboard for a 25-year friendship. These quotes show Johnson personally framing Duggar as a friend and Perkins as a long-standing mentor, underscoring his deep-rooted ties within conservative religious and political circles. Summary of implications. Association quote saw as a friend. Josh Duggar. Johnson called Duggar a friend. Business Insider. Saitito Perkins. He's just a long-time friend and mentor, like a brother. House Speaker Mike Johnson has been connected to several individuals and organizations with histories of sexual abuse allegations. While Johnson himself has not been accused of such misconduct, his associations have raised concerns. 1. Campaigning with Josh Duggar. In 2014, Mike Johnson campaigned alongside Josh Duggar, who was later convicted of possessing child pornography and had previously been accused of molesting minors, including his sisters.
Damn!
A photo from that campaign shows Johnson with Duggar and other political figures. At the time, Johnson referred to Duggar as a friend and participated in events with him.
Wow.
Affiliation with Tony Perkins and the Family Research Council. Tony Perkins, president of the Family Research Council, FRC, has been associated with individuals accused of sexual misconduct. Perkins hired Duggar as a lobbyist for the FRC, and after Duggar's resignation, Perkins stated that the allegations were previously unknown information. Additionally, Perkins was involved with Paul Pressler, a former judge accused of sexually abusing minors.
Damn!
Goodman, a politician who resigned after allegations of sexual misconduct. Involvement with Paul Pressler.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
Johnson was appointed as the inaugural dean of the Paul Pressler School of Law at Louisiana College, an institution named after Paul Pressler. The law school never opened, and Johnson resigned in 2012. Years later, Pressler faced lawsuits alleging sexual abuse of minors, some dating back to when Johnson was associated with the school. Hashler 4. Use of Covenant Eyes monitoring software. Johnson has promoted the use of Covenant Eyes, a Christian-based pornography monitoring software, which he used alongside his son to
listen to this.
Activity. Notably, Josh Duggar also used this software, which was found on his computer during investigations into his criminal activities. Investigators revealed that Duggar had installed the Tor browser to circumvent Covenant Eye's monitoring. While these associations do not implicate Johnson in any criminal activity, they have drawn attention due to the backgrounds of the individuals involved. Critics argue that such connections may reflect poorly on his judgment and associations. If you would like more detailed information on any of
Oh
these
my
points
goodness.
or further context,
And listen, it has also been alleged, stated that that software was used by one of the other guys that was in jail. That's that definitely has this background of sexual assault on minors, right? And also pornography, right? Not only to monitor the use of other people that in your network, but also to do something else. Yeah. And if I don't have that here, something associated with the criminality, associated with the exploitation, so yeah, I don't know if I prepared that, but yeah, I did come over that information as well. And these are just facts. No one can say Mike Johnson did this or did anything to someone himself, but he damn sure seems to be calling people his brother and associating himself long time with folks that have egregious convictions of sexual exploitation of minors. One dude, even his daughter, you know, I don't know. I don't know. This doesn't sound like a good association to have, especially in light of the Epstein things. Now, keep in mind, he says see, these politicians, they're very clever, especially the ones that lie. The proficient narcissist, liar, corrupt ones, they're even better, you know. He claims to be for the release, and I bet you it's because people have already questioned him about being associated with folks like that. So if he comes out in the public and acts like he's against it, then it's almost damn sure obvious of why, right? So he says he's against it, but look at the GOP. Who are they? Are they making Trump release the Epstein's? No, no. Just like Dershowitz, he said release it, release it, but is it for the same reasons you think it is? Or is it for the same reasons explained or covered by legacy media, Fox or CNN? I am not a person that lacks critical thinking on that level. Like, I could easily see an argument why it could be that, especially in an environment of conspiracy. Um, because obviously Trump ran on conspiracy theories. He ran on the PDFs, right? So we can't say it's outside of that context. He ran on this pedophile ring and exposing it. MAGA Mike Johnson supported him in that effort. But yet, MAGA Mike Johnson doesn't seem to be in control of his Congress, because if he was, then the shit would be released. So we know he is not putting his foot down on releasing shit. You see? So here we go. Let's go. Let's continue.
Feel free to ask. Here's a comprehensive update on the Republican opposition to forcing the release of the Epstein files via procedural votes in the House and Senate. House of Representatives.
I hear you, Moon Wafers.
Vote. Total Republicans who voted against releasing Epstein documents, 7. These votes occurred first in the House Rules Committee on July 14, 2025, and again on the House floor on July 15, 2025. All participated in procedural motions led by Representative Ro Khanna, DCA. 1. Virginia Fox, NC. I think most of us believe what's appropriate will be released when it is time for the president to release it.
Yeah, we're just followers.
6 turn search 10.
I can translate that response. That means I'm a follower and I'm going to do what Trump says, period. Forget what my constituency says. They're nobodies. Anyway, they'll vote for me again.
Nick Langworthy. It will be borne out by the legal authorities and by the public. We're talking about crypto, Jim. We're talking about regulations. Site turn search 6 turn
Now,
57.
oddly enough, when it comes to doing the paper trail on these people, the use of crypto has been quite effective in individuals getting around being revealed. So that's an aspect people should pay attention to when you're looking down the money trail, the paper trail. Some of it is in crypto, no doubtably, and therefore, but it still can be tracked. And keep this in mind, even if the administration right now doesn't want to track it, doesn't want to do a good job, rest assured, it's already being tracked by other nations. Other nations know they can get through that stuff. Yeah. So while the U.S. government may be denying you this information, the American citizen, the taxpayer, they ain't denying nobody else. They don't have the power to deny anyone else. Not when this stuff crosses international boundaries. Yup. That's money. That's paper trails. They hide money that way, even if they, don't go that to that great a deep lengths. They can, just regular money they can hide if you don't have a real investigation. But crypto also, but folks are tracking it, even if they don't do the job for the American citizen and expose it. That doesn't mean others don't already know. So
3. Erin Houchin. No public quote, but confirmed as one of the 7 GOP votes against the measure in Rules Committee. 55. 4. Morgan Griffith, RVA, also one of the 7, opposed the resolution in committee. Site search 54. 5. Michelle Fischbach, RMN, named as part of the GOP minority vote in the committee. Site and search 58, 6 and 7. 2 additional Committee of the Rules Committee Republicans. Their names are not explicitly listed in the sources, but they, alongside Fox, Langworthy, Houchin, Griffith and Fischbach, made up the total of 7 no votes. Site searched 2. Senate, unanimous consent block. In the Senate, Republicans blocked a unanimous consent request on July 17, 2020. A resolution demanding Trump release Epstein documents. Mark Wayne Mullin, Pure Theatre. I'm all for transparency where Epstein files. Those with legit questions, fine. But let's call this for what it is. Pure theatre from a party that hates Trump. Site turn search because a single objection sufficed.
it's interesting because Republicans ran on this platform of conspiracy and theater, make believe, right? But they weaponize those ideas all the time, against their opponents, but also the American people. This time they're gaslighting the American people. Like, I'm sure the appropriate authorities will release it if they thought there was something to release, but obviously nothing's there. Heil Führer. You know, there's people like that, but to a thinking individual, a critical thinking individual, you don't go for that more than once. When you develop a record of this gaslighting, you don't go for it anymore. But here we go. There's more.
Resolution was blocked. Summary: Chamber, Republicans voting against highlights. House Rules Committee 7. Fox, Langworthy, Houchin, Griffith, Fischbach, plus 2 unnamed. Procedural objections, delayed amendment attached to other bills. House floor, 211 Republicans opposed. Senate, at least 1 GOP objector, Mullin, blocked unanimous consent. Final takeaways. 7 House Republicans blocked efforts in committee to demand the DOJ make Epstein materials public, citing procedural and jurisdictional reasons. All present House Republicans joined the 211 and 210 partisan vote against advancing the measure on the floor. Senator Mark Wayne Mullin single-handedly blocked a Senate motion for transparency, calling the effort
Yeah, pure theater. Yeah, pure theater or
I turn image.
oh, okay, here we go. I'm gonna pause it right here.
1, turnover H2,
Yeah, before we go
turnover
into
H3.
the
Here's
residencies,
the
right?
expanded section on Epstein's residencies, focusing
You
on
know, and investigating what the stuff that's there, the things that are publicly available. Of course, what you're hearing here is publicly available information. And you know, there's obviously some people that don't know what that means or haven't heard this information before, publicly available. And also, for some, there may be not used to hearing such concise information, you know, one after another in a series of reporting, you know, so that could be a bit much for some people, but this is just what's publicly known, and it's what you hear every day, you know, maybe not brought up quite enough, but you can find it if you're researching yourself. You know, you just go to Google and say, hey, how many properties did Jeffrey Epstein have? Hey, Google, is Mike Johnson have any associates that are arrested or criminals? You can find that yourself, you know. So that's what I did anyway. Now, the Republicans, they very simply have voted against the release of the Epstein files. And obviously, Trump also has done a lot to stop the release, you could say. He hasn't said release them, and he's also called it all a hoax at the same time, you know, make believe, but he doesn't want it released. Yeah, his Justice Department locked up Epstein after they had a disagreement and their friendship ended. Epstein started talking about his ass after their friendship ended. Yeah, this is just public information. So, yeah, it's pretty bad. The leader of the Republican Party has two brothers, or two, not brothers, close associates, according to him, that are in jail for these kind of, or have gone to jail or been convicted of these types of pedophile stuff, looking at people on the net, or taking actions against people, right? Child porn, or actually, you know, molesting and, you know, physically assaulting minors. Yeah, so Mike Johnson ran with a person like that on a co-ticket, you know, at one time. So the leader of the Republican Party is probably not one you would expect to say release all the files and get a number of them, you know, to do it. Yeah, I doubt you're ever going to see that. He won't get them to do it. And yeah, so I don't know. Some people are going to think that that's a coincidence, but what do you have a leader for if it's not about getting the votes? Basically, right? That's what it comes down to. That's what people inside of the, or at least the voters, vote for. You know, that's how they operate in the House, by consensus. You see, so if a number of them say we like this guy to be the leader, that's who becomes the leader. That's how it happens. So even if there's bribes underneath the table, even if there's you know, White House arm twisting, right? It is what it is. So, but in any case, the last thing is the amount of addresses that Epstein had in places where he had these electronic surveillance apparatus set up outside his home and inside of his home, right? So let's see here.
on surveillance, camera systems and documentation, including video evidence and expert analysis. Builds on the previous report with more detail and media references. Flag, properties, surveillance and documented evidence. 1. Palm Beach Mansion, El Brillo Way. Hidden cameras found 2006. Palm Beach cops discovered 2 concealed cameras during a 2006 raid, confirming Epstein's surveillance setup. Site CERN Search 24 to turn sur le nom. FBI raid video 2005. A video clip from the raid shows rooms lined with nude photos and paintings of young women displayed on massage tables. Site turn search 2, turn search. Victim testimony. Survivors described being lured via massage for pay, led through discreet side entrances, and pressured into recruiting others. A pyramid-style operation involving repeated abuse. Site to mid-turn search, search 6, turn search 11. 2. Manhattan Townhouse, 9 East 71st Street. Wired with cameras. Investigators in the 2019 raid found a sophisticated CCTV system, hidden cameras, and a lead-lined bathroom with monitoring devices. Site turn search, 24 turn search 2. Media room. Artist Maria Farmer testified to a hidden media room where staff monitored live feeds from pinhole cameras. Site search, 24.
You hear that part?
330.
That is an interesting part. Pinhole cameras with a room, media room, where other adults are monitoring the cameras. Yeah. So there's staff and people participate. To me, that sounds like espionage, essentially. A media room with adults. We're talking about people that aren't participating in the acts, but are there to surveil others. That's what it sounds like to me. But you're free. Everyone's free to investigate.
01 East 66th Street Apartments, Upper East Side. Epstein-controlled units housed staff and associates, including alleged victims and recruiters. High-profile visitors reportedly passed through, though less firm evidence of surveillance is public. Site turn search 24 turn search 2. 4. Zorro Ranch, New Mexico. Large estate.
Yo, New Mexico is another key location.
With a private runway and multiple.
I don't know how many of you have been to New Mexico. That's on the border. You hear a lot of border talk about that these days. It distracts a lot of other conversations. But have you ever been there? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever been to New Mexico. Ever been to that region? New Mexico, Arizona, these border states. Let me know. Put a 1 in the chat if you've actually gone to a town like that, to a region like that, to see with your own eyes, to talk with people, to just ask them, how's life? What do you think about things here? This kind of stuff. If you have, put a 1 in the chat. I just want to see how many people have been there. Yeah, the women said there were cameras. The women, Sweetie Pie, said that there were pinhole cameras connected to a media room with other people that were monitoring these cameras. And I believe in one of the reports I read, they said that these people weren't active, weren't participating in the other activities. They were there monitoring the cameras. So, yeah. Teresa Sanchez, I live here, brother. It sucks. I mean, I'm just saying, I usually ask people what they think when I go to these places because, I only go as a visitor. So I don't know what it's like to live there, but I could tell you my observations as a visitor, or just having a little bit of brains, 55 years on Earth, know a lot of people, traveled to a lot of places myself, met a lot of people, worked with a lot of different people. Of different backgrounds, different nationalities, different economic brackets, right? I could say that my knowledge, a lot of things come to mind. I could say sex trafficking is one of the things that might come to mind. Also, prostitution, you could say. And I'm not saying it's only associated with that because a lot of the geography is beautiful. Things like that are beautiful. And I know people do have nice lives there also, right? Some people are having it nice there also, maybe, depending on where you're at. But when I think about this other stuff, I would, that just pops in my mind, this location, this New Mexico location. You don't hear a lot about that, ironically. When was the last time you heard CNN talk about who went to Del Rancho, New Mexico, the Zorro Ranch? When was the last time you heard Fox asking questions about that? All right, it should be working fine now. Let me see. Let me pull this back up on the screen here. And let me now. add the New Mexico back up here real quick.
Here are the direct sourced quotes featuring Mike Johnson. Highlight his House Speaker Mike Johnson has been connected to several. Here's a comprehensive update on the Republican opposition. Turn image 1, turn arrow image 2, turn.
All right, sorry about that.
Here's the expanded section on Epstein's residences, focusing on surveillance systems
All right,
and documentation.
I'm going to try to
including video
let it
evidence
play
and
up until New Mexico again so we can pick up where we left off at. Let me know what you think about New Mexico or that region, if you've been there. Okay. So let me get back into this. Sorry for the delays again, people. Yeah, but I'm on my mobile phone, and that's the most convenient place to get down and do these little ditties. So if for those of you, no, it's just a joke. But to do these stories on this situation here in the U.S. that is developing, I mean, hey, and if you're one of the people like myself that, you first hear about these pedophile stuff, blah, 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 disinformation, interestingly enough, is not the act of withholding all truths. No, disinformation is actually uses some truth and then misdirects you. It can get you to, it can outmaneuver you. It can get you looking in the wrong area for the right reasons. Right. So, yeah. So in any case, let's just hear more about the locations. MAGA Mike, we've seen who you are now. Hopefully people will address you as part of this problem, right? But we're going to get on to the locations in Epstein Island. And just to recap for those of you who just coming in, I had to go out for a pause. The internet was messed up. Had to reboot my phone, blah, blah, blah. But when it stopped, we were talking about different areas where he has these locations. And by the way, you hear legacy media only talk about 1 or 2 or 3 of the locations, when in fact he had many more locations. And people should pay attention to where these locations are too, because one of the locations was New Mexico. Yes, he had events there, right? And had visitors, had camera setups, all of this stuff. And there's other places, Colorado, and he had many in New York. And so there's also those Paris, right? Then there's 2 in the Virgin Islands, not just 1, I believe. And then and we're going to go over that stuff. And so in any case, here we go. Let's start there again.
Turn image 1, turn arrow image 2, turn image 3. Here's the expanded section on Epstein's residences, focusing on surveillance, camera systems, and documentation, including video evidence and expert analysis. It builds on the previous report with more detail and media references. Clark Properties, Surveillance and Documented Evidence. 1. Palm Beach Mansion, El Brillo Way. Hidden cameras found 2006. Palm Beach cops sealed cameras during a 2006 raid, confirming Epstein's surveillance setup. Site CERN Search 24 to turn sur 11 nom. FBI raid video 2005. A video clip from the raid shows rooms lined with nude photos and paintings of young women displayed on massage tables. Site turn search 2, turn search. Victim testimony. Survivors describe being lured via massage and pressured into recruiting others. A pyramid-style operation involving repeated abuse. Site to mid-turn search, search 6, turn search 11. 2. Manhattan Townhouse, 9 East 71st Street, wired with cameras. Investigators in the 2019 raid found a sophisticated CCTV system, hidden cameras, and a lead-lined bathroom with monitoring devices. Site turn search 2. Media room. Artist Maria Farmer testified to a hidden media room where staff monitored live feeds from pinhole cameras, Site Search 24. 301 East 66th Street apartments, Upper East Side. Epstein-controlled units housed staff and associates, including alleged victims and recruiters. High-profile visitors reportedly passed through, though less firm evidence of surveillance is public.
So that pinhole place, apparently that's New York, right? And yeah, monitoring room, staff in there monitoring what's going on the pinhole cameras, not participating in the activities, just monitoring. And that's where we left off. But yeah, to me, that sounds very organized. And therefore, I would have to put that in the espionage category, right? Which I've been stating here. Even if you're not thinking about, even if you just say none of this is true, none of these victims exist. Well, there seems to be a lot of documentation and of people saying, yes, stuff really did go on there. And on top of it, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested under Trump, right? Charged with these things, right? And he died under Trump's administration. Also, these things, all the truth never got out. And, so something's being hidden. That's for damn sure. And I don't see where the argument would be that you wouldn't want to know what that is, especially if there's cameras, even the chance of cameras, even the chance of espionage, even the chance of blackmail, even the chance, even the slightest chance, you would want to make sure something like that definitely is not true. You would want to stomp that out completely, because that would undermine your government. Essentially, if you could have people being blackmailed and have other governments know about who those people are. So to me, it seems like the only reason why, if it is real, these accounts and these activities, right, these assaults, if that is real and they were caught on camera, your government would definitely be manipulated by other people who know. And it's been established that there's other people that know. It's not only Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Trump. I witnessed Trump. He was actually there. It's not only the guy who represented Epstein in his plea agreement in Florida that know some stuff that's been going on there because he helped him with the plea, right? That's Dershowitz, okay? And not only Comey, the prosecutor who prosecuted Ghislaine Maxwell, not only does she know, right, but the element of espionage means others could know, other people from other countries. And that would be the height of spying, the height of espionage spying, the height of it. And it's up to you to say, do I really want to know what's going on with my tax dollars, or do I not really care? Hey, I'll just pay taxes tomorrow and complain. I'm one of the sheep. And it's okay to play sheep, especially if you're afraid and you think that the system is unfair. A lot of people do that across the political spectrum, right? There's been public representatives that have said they get death threats daily. There are judges that have said they get death threats. This is a moment, regardless of whether these things happen to you, this is what's being put in the public sector, according to people. They're volunteering this information themselves. If they didn't say it, I couldn't read it. You see, if they didn't participate in it, I couldn't read it. These kind of things. So let's continue now. Let's see where Jeffrey Epstein had more of these locations.
Of surveillance is public. Site turn search 24 turn search 2.
What's up, Donnie?
4. Zorro Ranch, New Mexico. Large estate, 10,000 acres with a private runway and multiple homes. Local accounts suggest recruitment and large gatherings occurred there, though camera evidence has not been fully documented publicly.
recruitment. That means they went out there to find young people, minors, that they could recruit into their espionage or pedophile sex ring. Mexico. Zorro Ranch was allegedly used for that, although it's not public. Any of the camera systems and stuff like that, information documented by the government, is not really public. You don't hear CNN talking about it. You don't hear Fox News talking about it. Yeah.
Not been fully documented publicly. Site turn search 24. 5. Little St. James Island, US Virgin Island. Fully wired throughout, hosting alleged underage orgies and high-profile guests. Turn search 22, turn search 20.
And see, I was mistaken. I thought there was only one of these Virgin Island locations, but apparently it's not.
22, turn search 24. Visitor tracking via mobile devices. A wired investigation identified nearly 200 unique cell phones tied to visitors, mapping precise visit patterns. Site turn search 3, turn forch. Documented abuse sites. The island included guest cottages. ATVs patrolled the perimeter with weapons, and staff used encrypted systems to protect footage. Site turn search 6.
Patrolled with arms, SUVs. Yeah.
Turn search 6, turn search 22.
Now this is a second island in the Caribbean.
22. 6. Great James Island, purchased in 2016 for expansion, designed similarly to Little St. James, but construction was halted by authorities. Still included in a state surveillance strategy. Site turn search 2, turn search 24. 7. Paris apartment and Vale Chalet, secondary properties. Avenue Foch. Allegations include a massage room used for model recruitment and potentially secret surveillance.
Now, Paris. You hear this already. There's a setup in Paris. So I'm curious what people visited him in Paris. Of course, I think the EU surveillance laws are more strict than the US. That's for sure. In terms of tracking your cell phone activity, stuff like that, just to protect people from crime, right? But the other thing is that they do know they can track in other ways the US government if they wanted to. And other governments definitely know who visited him in that Paris location. You could pretty much be sure of that. And not only that, since we talking about espionage, it might not only just be the Paris government that knows. I mean, what other spy network is in France that has tapped into this kind of stuff? Right? I mean, who knows? And who knows who was coming across the EU or from the US to visit him in Paris? Who knows? Entertainers, anything. Who knows? Right? But we don't get the US government talking a lot about that. And we don't get CNN and Fox talking a lot about that.
Cited at turn search 24, turn search 6. Vale, Colorado Chalet, owned via trust, suspected as a discreet getaway, but limited documentation is available. Site turn search 24. Video and media evidence. ABC News survivor interview. Victims describe how they were first lured to the Palm Beach mansion for massages. Site turn search 66, turn image Google. Fox News raid clip 2005 mansion shows nude art and surveillance equipment around massage areas. Site and search 2, turn search 11. Wired investigation 2024. Traces visitor movement via mobile location data. All gigs connecting island to global network. Site and
Woo!
search.
Connecting island to global network.
Site and search, turn search, 4 Ts. Netflix docuseries Filthy Ritty. Includes behind-the-scenes footage of film crew encountering security, guns in ATVs on Little St. James. 5 to turn search, quotes. In the media room, there were men sitting here, monitoring the pinhole cameras throughout the house. Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Reiter. This was 50-something shes and one he. And the she's all basically told the same story. Sight unknown, age 30. We were able to map the...
So, who are the he's? Who are the he's?
We were able to put to within centimeters, including their neighborhoods, buildings of origin. So Sight turn search 3, turn search 14. Here's your fully updated integrated report, focusing on Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, so that's enough, right? Now,
Yep.
so there's a lot that legacy media is not discussing. Yeah, to me, it's very simple. If you don't want to know and you don't want the public to know, then you're probably part of the conspiracy. That's where I would start. I would start right there, just like any other criminal investigation. It's very simple. You don't want me to search your house. You don't want me to look in your bag. You don't want me to look in your car, but it smells like marijuana. Well, then hell, I'm going to go in anyway. I mean, why don't they use those tactics? Because at the very least, these Republican members have already gone on record to some degree about believing some of this stuff is real. They ran on the platform themselves. That is their specific platform, that it is real, that there are real crimes. That is their own testimonies. That's their own voters' constituency comments and words. So you know very clearly what's happening here is the people on the congressional level that don't want to know, they're likely know something about some others that are financiers, people that donate to them, or other congressional members, or largely is the money, right? The same people that lobby them to get the tax cuts. You know how that works. The upper echelon, the upper class, you know, the middle class is almost doesn't even exist anymore in the U.S. It's coming down to the upper and the lower. It used to be a time where there was poor, strong middle class, and then you had a broader spectrum of upper class. But now today, that's like the 1%, and they own every single thing, even the media outlets. They own YouTube. YouTube got a tax break. So at the very least, if YouTube doesn't do the right thing, because they're a business, if CNN doesn't do the right thing, because they're a business, if Fox doesn't do the right thing, because they're a business, you would expect that your congressional members would do the right thing, because they're not supposed to be a business at all. They're supposed to do things to keep all the other shit in check. And here they have failed utterly. Personally, a lot of them failed on a personal level. Like Mike Johnson, you're a personal failure. You run on a ticket and the dude right next to you that's on the same ticket is a damn pedophile. What the hell? That's a personal failure at the very least. Not to mention hanging out with another one of your close friends who is. I mean, those are personal failures, right? Mike Johnson hasn't been alleged to have done anything himself. But as a congressional member, you're supposed to say and make sure the rest of these people release all of the shit, so is your country under foreign threat? You know how many more pedophiles you got running around in the Senate, in the Congress, in the private industry, internet entertainment industry, what else? Other industries, weapons, any other type of data control. You definitely want to know if it's some people that's working in data control that went to these parties. You see what I'm saying? Like, seriously. Yeah. But in any case, I'm out. I appreciate everybody that came through. Thanks for being patient, bearing with me through some of the technical glitches, right? Mainly the internet. But click like, subscribe, do a brother a favor. Even if you don't agree with me, I mean, damn, I ain't done nothing to you, okay? I'm just speaking my piece. You don't have to come here if you don't like me personally. But if you like engaging in politics, political dialogue, and if you like the idea that life should be fair and the everyday person, he or she, should have a fair chance at success, a fair chance. That means we can get beyond all the other intersections and just say, are you prepared to deal with me fairly? Are you willing to do the same amount of work as I'm willing to do when we show up to work? That's what I mean. I'm talking about base level respect. Um, he or she, right? Giving people an opportunity to succeed. Right now, class warfare means the average Joe, he or she, is not going to get the opportunity, the fair shot to succeed. That's what we're talking about in the midst of elitist pedophiles getting every shot to succeed, getting a helping hand everywhere, every time, you know, getting a lawyer who's down with the party, getting a DA who's down with the party, protecting, getting a DA, getting a director of the FBI, CIA, all of them ready to, willing to protect the pedo males. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. And, but hey, in any case, I'm out of here. I appreciate it. I don't always read the comments, but Dominique says, agree. Okay, that's 100. Okay. And I'm sure, let me see. I'm sorry, I don't always read the comments. Look, somebody wrote, I can't see who this is just because of the background. As a matter of fact, 2 seconds. Let me just change this, then I can read it properly. Let me take this off here. Let's see here. I think I can read it properly now. Okay. Now let's go back. Yeah, look, Brad Lang says, Brad Lang, what's up? Brad Lang says Trump is all over the list. I mean, I would think so. He never said I'm not on the list. He just said it's a fake list. I mean, that's very, very revealing when that's all you got to say. And then Simon Farning, if Trump was on the list, hold on, what did he say? If Trump was on the list, we would have heard about it 10 years ago. Sorry, Simon. I don't think that's how it works. Again, we're talking about class warfare. The media is owned by a lot of these same people that get these tax breaks from these others that, I mean, who cares if Trump was on the list? First of all, if Trump wasn't on the list, great. So break open the list, right? Why are his appointees adamantly against not just the list, the files? Just share it if Trump ain't got nothing to do, if he ain't got nothing to hide. But what about the other ones? You only give a damn about Trump, Simon? Don't you care about all the victims and all the other people that did do something? Obviously, there are other people, hundreds. There's obviously hundreds, right? To be reasonable about it. I don't know exactly how many. I'm just going by my own thoughts, from information that's out there. What it appears to be that there's hundreds of upper class, wealthy men in, the aristocratic element, the entertainers, wealthy entertainers, wealthy business owners, top tier. We're talking about 1%, right? Even Elon Musk said he's on it somehow. So there you go. Why he's on it, I don't know, but we're talking about 10 years. So there's a lot of people that went to a lot of these places. We're talking about a lot of places too that had set up operations recording them, men being lured, girls being enslaved, and sent out to go lure more girls to get men to have minors. We're talking about minor girls, and to get men of elite status in the society to sleep with them. And you dirty ass men, shame on you. You are some dirty ass men, for real. You are a nasty man. You have no shame. And I have no doubt that it's connected to some classist, elitist thing. It's not just about girls. It's about people in general. You all hate people. You just hate the everyday class. You hate the working man or woman. You hate the family, people that have families, just trying to get along and have a decent life, not a wealthy, rich life, just a survivable, enjoyable one. Life shouldn't be about struggling to, and not having enough. That shouldn't be what it's about. And then paying other people like congressional members to sit on their ass and do nothing and protect pedophiles. That shouldn't be what people are paying taxes for, And it appears to be that is exactly what American citizens are paying taxes for, because that is all you're getting right now. Having said that, I appreciate everybody for coming out, and I'm going to catch up with y'all later. I'll see y'all in a few hours. Be good. Click like, subscribe, and share if you think it's something you would want to share to your folks. Of course, if you don't, I don't really care. I'm not here for that purpose in that way, and you don't need to share it to, you just share it where you think it is. But I appreciate the people that do come out and have some interesting comments. I read them from time to time as I'm, doing this, but I don't normally stop and read what I can see. So I usually just catch it when I can. But I appreciate everybody that does come out, and yeah, I wish everybody the best, to be honest with you. I wish everybody the best, a better life, a better opportunity. If you need one, if you don't need one, then hey. All right, peace, y'all. I'm out.
They want more. Crying babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every clue. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 rows to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on